Hello. Well, I've been invited to talk about women's leadership, women in leadership. Always a very controversial topic. There has been so many myths and controversies about women in leadership, and I don't want to add to stereotypes, but I think it would be worth talking about some of those myths, but also some of the realities of being a woman leader. I'm sure that a number of you are women leaders, so I'll be interested to see how this resonates for you. Of course, a lot of the ideas and theories of leadership have been based on military leadership in the past, and so the old conception of leadership was very much about the hero leading from the front, and very much a masculinized idea of leadership. And so for us women, when we've reached leadership positions, it's sometimes been hard to find a role model, women role models, which can actually reflect the kind of leader that we want to be. And so what's happened is that women have often felt that they had to be a very masculinized type of leader. Another problem for leaders, women leaders, has been that we get categorized, we get labeled, even as senior leaders. If you think about somebody like Angela Merkel, all sorts of dreadful ways that she's described in the media. One of the most powerful women in the world, one of the most powerful leaders, and yet she's described as dowdy, as a mother figure, and so it's very difficult for women leaders to sometimes to present themselves in a way which is the way that they want to be presented. So another problem, of course, is that women are often sidelined into what's called velvet ghettos. In other words, to be leaders of service type functions. HR, as I have come from originally, is one of the typical stereotyped areas where women can thrive. But I think things are very much changing. So the end of this is to add some positive views about women in leadership, and the fact that actually women and feminine styles of leadership are now coming into their own, in my view. So women don't have to act as male type figures of leadership anymore, in fact nor do men, and there is much evidence now that in today's very turbulent, complex world, a much more feminine style of leadership is going to become important for women and men. And so there is evidence in research that women are often much more inclusive, much more able to work in teams, often more democratic naturally, and of course able to tap into emotion, very much able to build on the emotional intelligence, social intelligence of a group. There's a nice quote here from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, "To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart." I mean, I might argue that you need your heart for both. And so now I think instead of women trying to be masculinized leaders, we now have many more people, men and women, trying to become much more feminine in their approaches. And I think I'd like to end this little clip with just saying something about a McKinsey study of successful women leaders. They talked to 85 senior women leaders, and they found some 5 very important behaviours for a more feminine approach to leadership as a result of that study. And the first was meaning. They said women very much are good at finding their strengths and putting them to work, and enabling other people to find their own strengths and an inspiring purpose. And to love what they do. So meaning is the first. Second is managing energy. And women have, because often many women have to multitask because of family commitments, and so do many men of course these days, then managing energy has become very important for women who are successful. And to understand our own energy and know where our energy comes from, and help other people to become more aware and able to balance their lives. Thirdly, positive framing. Successful women leaders have said that they find their success by seeing the positive, by seeing the glass half full, and being able to be resilient in the face of adversity, and to expand their horizons and think about the positive even when negative things happen. The fourth is connecting, and that is connecting with others, building networks, having a sense of belonging. I think women, in the sense of working in a very masculinized world, have had to network, have had to find support groups, have had to find networks of people that they can work with, and find a sense of belonging in a world which is often feeling quite alien, even today actually. And the fifth one for successful women leaders in the McKinsey study was engaging, where women have been able to find their voice and become self-reliant and confident and express themselves. Of course, all of these five are equally valid perspectives for men wanting to become more feminine in the way that they do their leadership. And I think in a world which is increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous, then these kinds of strengths are going to be even more important today. So I think there is a shift now from that masculinized, lead from the front, aggressive, competitive form of leadership to a much more sensitive, intuitive, thoughtful, networked and inclusive form of leadership, and therefore I think there is much more scope today for anybody, male or female, to be a leader, and at Capital Horizons we really do believe that anybody can lead at any level in the organisation, in all parts of the organisation, and I think there is a lot of hope now for women to be themselves with skill, rather than try to be something else, try to be a leader that is not true to themselves. So to be an authentic leader and to operate with all of the strengths that they bring as a woman.